Thank you for joining us. This is Story Time with twisted slivers from the paranormal, the unreal, the real, fictional, and maybe just a sprinkle of truth. Altitude. The Boeing 767 cruised at 40,000 feet, its cabin bathed in the soft glow of overhead lights. Flight 606 was en route from New York to London, a routine transatlantic journey. Among the passengers was Dr. Eleanor Hayes. She was a renowned psychiatrist attending a conference on cognitive dissonance. Sienna settled into her seat, the hum of the engines providing a familiar comfort. She glanced around, observing her fellow passengers. To her left was a young couple whispering sweet nothings, and a businessman engrossed in his laptop who seemed irritated by everybody. An elderly woman knitting a crimson scarf, and a teenage boy busy sketching in his notebook. This could be a relaxing flight, she thought. Everyone looks so normal, and that's not always the case these days. 2 hours into the flight, the first flight anomaly occurred. The in-flight entertainment screen started to flicker. Oh God, no, I'm really enjoying this movie, Sienna thought. But the display static before her all of a sudden stopped, and the video returned. Minor glitch, I guess. The flight attendants made an announcement and assured that the entertainment system would be up and working. Sienna returned to watching her movie, dismissing the disturbance as just a normal part of flying. Moments later, a soft chime echoed through the cabin. It signaled an announcement was incoming, but no voice followed. Instead, the cabin lights dimmed and turned on, dimmed and turned back on, plunging the space into an eerie sense of twilight. The passengers murmured in confusion. The dings continued, the bells continued, the lights continued to flicker. Heads were turning around towards the flight attendants, who appeared just to be extremely bewildered. Sienna's gaze drifted to the window. My gosh, can I never take a flight without something crazy happening, she thought. Her gaze out the window was at least a comforting. The vast expanse of the Atlantic stretched below, but the horizon seemed wrong. The stars above shimmered unnaturally, almost like they were holes poked in a piece of paper that a flashlight was pushing through. Their positions were unfamiliar, and they seemed to be moving. No, it wasn't just the aircraft moving. These stars were almost bouncing. She felt a creeping sense of unease, and a sensation that she just really couldn't rationalize. The teenage boy across the aisle tapped her arm. Ma'am, do you feel that? He whispered. His eyes were wide with fear. Feel what, son? Sienna asked, her voice steady despite her growing dread. I don't know. It's like the heaviness, like the air is pressing down on all of us. Sienna couldn't deny it. She nodded slowly, realizing that she too felt an inexplicable weight, as if the atmosphere had thickened. A sudden jolt rocked the plane. All of the oxygen masks deployed, dangling the lifeless little strings like marionettes. The elderly woman clutched her chest, grabbing for air, and the young couple that were holding hands were suddenly, desperately holding on tightly to their seat rests. The intercom crackled to life. Ladies and gentlemen, the captain's voice was strained. We're experiencing unexpected turbulence. Please return to your seats, remain seated with your seatbelts fastened, and listen to your flight attendants. Sienna's professional instincts kicked in. She observed the passengers. She was noting signs of escalation in their panic. Many were rapidly breathing, darting eyes from one another, trembling hands, white knuckles. She unbuckled her seatbelt, intending to assist the elderly woman. But as she stood, the cabin shifted. Not physically shifted, but perceptually. The rows of seats seemed to stretch endlessly as if they were in a carnival fun mirror, and the faces of the passengers started to blur into indistinct smudges. The hum of the engines morphed into a low, droning chant, resonating deep within inside her and rattling her bones. She blinked rapidly. She gripped the armrest to anchor herself. My, this isn't real, she murmured. It's got to be a hallucination. But the sensations persisted. And the teenage boy, he dropped a sketch pad to the floor. Pages were fluttering open to reveal drawings of faceless figures standing in a circle, their hands raised toward the central void. Sienna's pulse quickened. Where did you see this? Did you draw it from memory, or did you make this up? She demanded, pointing to his sketches. I'm not really sure. It could be a dream. It's just something I know about. No, I don't think they're dreams. I think they're memories of mine. The businessman slammed his laptop shut. Enough, he bellowed. This is absurd. We're all experiencing mass hysteria. The teenager looked at him and said, But sir, I haven't even told you what I see. The elderly woman began to weep. Her knitting needles clattered to the floor. I don't belong here, she sobbed. This isn't even my flight. I'm not supposed to be on this airplane. Sienna knelt beside her. Ma'am, what do you mean? I was on flight 117 heading to Paris, but this isn't my plane. The realization hit Sienna like a thunderbolt. Multiple flights, she whispered. Different routes? She looked around. Many passengers looked completely different. They didn't look like the ones that she started the flight with. There was an elderly man that she was sure had not been there before. There was a young mother with 2 children, an older woman with a large purple purse. Passengers all looked different. Is it possible? The cabin door creaked open, although no attendant had touched it, and beyond the threshold was the galley. But a yawning abyss started swirling in a cosmic dance. How could the door of the airplane be open? There's no wind, there's no sound. A force began to pull, gentle but insistent. The passengers started to move. One by one, passengers rose from their seats. They were entranced and moving towards the open door. Oh my gosh, what is going on? I'm starting to lose my grip, Sienna thought. The young couple stepped forward hand in hand. Their expressions were serene, and the businessman followed. His earlier bravado had dissolved into submission. He was now completely glassy-eyed and moving forward as if on a conveyor belt. Sienna fought the pull. Her mind was racing. This is a construct, she thought. A deep breath. It's just got to be a shared illusion. We can break free. I know we can. She turned to the teenage boy. Focus on something real, she urged. Pick a memory, a sensation. Ground yourself in what you believe. He nodded. Squeezing his eyes shut, he began to murmur to himself, and the pull seemed to lessen around both Sienna and the young boy. Sienna addressed the remaining passengers. Everyone, this isn't our reality. Resist the pull. Anchor yourself. Think of something pleasant. Think of something that you care about. Some heeded her words, breaking from their trance, starting to return to their seats and hold on tightly, but others continued towards the abyss, stepping into the void without hesitation. They were gone. No sound. No screeching, no screaming, no crying. They walked into the black abyss and were gone. With a final surge of willpower, she closed her eyes and thought of everything happy she could think of. All around her, she sensed that the cabin was dissolving. Seats and walls were melting into darkness. She could see others that were starting to slip away. Sienna felt her consciousness slipping. She yelled, "Wake up, wake up, wake up! We've got to fight this." Sienna gasped. Bolting upright, she was in her seat. The cabin around her looked normal. The in-flight entertainment displayed a serene landscape. Passengers were chatting, quietly enjoying their flight, and the flight attendants were moving about with practiced grace. Oh my God, what happened? That wasn't a dream. I have scratch marks on my palm from beating my hands to a fist. The teenage boy met her gaze, his eyes reflecting the same lingering terror. He held up a sketch pad. He had sketched people falling from the airplane, and the last drawing depicted Sienna standing at the edge of the abyss, holding onto the doorframe, refusing to go out. A chilling realization settled over her. Some boundaries weren't meant to be crossed. Some realities weren't meant to be glimpsed. Being caught in a glitch could mean you never return. Flight 606 continued a journey through the night sky, but for those that had seen beyond the veil, that had fallen into the abyss, they were gone. They came from all walks of life and would never reach their final destination. The world would never be the same. Never for Sienna, never for this young boy. They had touched the edge of reality.